Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my 5 favorite things about the Polestar 2. This video is going to be all about positivity and nothing negative. And I'm just going to talk about the things that I really like about this car. Obviously, like with any vehicle, there's going to be positives and there's going to be negatives. But yeah, this is going to be specifically focusing on the 5 things that I really like about driving the Polestar 2. Right, let's go. So one of the things I particularly like about the Polestar 2 is the performance and the handling of the car. It goes from 0 to 60 at a very fast rate. There's no doubt that that is something that anyone who gets this car is going to enjoy. But the way in which it delivers the power is really good. So if you floor it, it pushes you straight into the back of the seat, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, probably around 4.5, depending on which test you see. And if you're gentle with the accelerator, it's gentle to you. So you don't have this harshness, it's not too aggressive, and it allows you to drive it the way you want to. So a gentle push on the accelerator drives in a nice relaxing way, and if you put your foot to the floor, it absolutely launches you. Now, something that I mentioned in one of my other reviews that you've got to bear in mind is that it's quite startling to passengers if you do floor it. I've done it with my children a couple of times and not warned them, and they don't really like it. But if I warn them that I'm going to do it, they enjoy it, and it's good fun. So that is something to bear in mind. Now, in terms of the handling, it's sharp and responsive. It's a really nice car to drive, and it grips the road very well. So I would compare it to something like, for me, it's a lot like one of the M Sport BMW cars. It's that kind of firmness, which isn't unpleasant. But it makes you feel safe on the road. So you can go around corners quite quickly and always feel like you've got loads of grip, and that there isn't really any understeer. That the car goes where you point it. So that's, for me, one of the biggest plus points about this car is its performance, and its ride and handling is something that anybody, I think, who gets this car is going to enjoy. So one of my favorite features on the Polestar 2 has got to be Android Automotive. That's predictable because everybody mentions that in reviews, but I can't leave that out. That in terms of the top 5 things, that has got to be one of them. It's just so easy to use. It's very intuitive. If you're used to using Android on a phone or a tablet, then it'll be very easy to adapt to this kind of system. Google Maps works very well. You can navigate, and it'll give you your percentage charge when you get there, which is really handy if you're going somewhere quite far and you're not sure if you've got enough power to get there, or if you're doing a multi-stop trip, you can navigate to the first rapid charger and it'll tell you how much you're going to get there with. And it's a system that has so much scope for the future. So at the moment you can use things like Spotify, Google Play Music, but in the future I'm sure we'll see many more apps from other manufacturers that might be useful. I mean, one thing that would be great, and hopefully we'll see it, is maps with charging information. Things like Zap Map, maybe a better route planner. But it's a great starting point for something to build on in the future. So one of the things I really like is that you can speak to it. So with Google Maps, let's try this out. Hey Google, show rapid car charges.
Showing results.
Well, it cut the audio off at the end there, but it got the results. So I asked it to show me the rapid charges, and it has. It's come up with, I'm not exactly sure which ones it's chosen, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that it's selected from its database suitable charges for me to go and use. So that's just one of the things you can do. You can ask it questions like, let's try this. Hey Google, how much does a Polestar 2 cost?
The Polestar 2 is listed by the manufacturer at a starting price of £49,900.
There you go. So that's a good example of how well this system works. Yeah, you know, it's great. It just does what it's supposed to do, and that's one of the reasons why I think it definitely belongs in the top 5. features of the Polestar 2.
We could go anywhere. We'll get there soon. We'll get there soon. We could be any place. We'll get there soon. We'll get there soon. We'll get there soon.
So another plus point that I'm going to go for, from my point of view, is range and charging speed. Now, you might be shocked and think, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because if you've done a lot of research or you've read quite a bit of stuff on the internet, you'll probably read negatives surrounding those two things. But I'm going to say that they're a positive, because yes, there might be a lot of comparisons with Tesla, but if you forget about Tesla, forget about other cars like Tesla, because there are some great ones. The reality of it is the range of this car is good. The official testing ranges that you'll see are around 270 miles, but less in colder conditions and less on the motorway. The reality of it is, from my own personal experience, this is a car that can do 200 to 220 miles of motorway driving at normal speeds in normal temperatures and normal weather conditions. I think that's fine. I think that's good. I had a Nissan Leaf before, and I still actually have that at home. It can do 70 or 80 miles. Yes, it's cheaper, there's no question about it, but 200 miles is absolutely fine for me. In actual fact, that's a good range as far as I'm concerned, so I'm more than happy with that. Charging speed, now this is more of a plus because, again, it's got 150 kilowatt charging capabilities built into the car on a DC charging system. So that, again, is a big plus point. That's fast. You can charge quickly. Now, again, I'm not going to go into detail because this is meant to be a positive review, but you'll see some of my other videos. There's some issues surrounding that, but let's stick to the positives. That's theoretically what this car can do. So I think that's great. And actually, you know, I've done a few charges where I've spent 45 minutes, an hour somewhere, charged up, got the power I needed, and headed off. And that's great. It is much quicker than something like a Nissan Leaf will be. Yeah, so I'm going to stick with a positive on that one, and you'll see future videos surrounding that and the issues. But yes, if you think about it, compared to the technology that existed a year or 2 or 3 years ago, this car has really good range, and it has fast charging capabilities that are, in my opinion, still a real plus point about the Polestar. Okay, so safety features. That might not be the most obvious or even the most glamorous and exciting positive thing to think about in a car, but in reality, these are the kinds of things that actually can make quite a big difference. Now, obviously, all cars are full of airbags these days. That's kind of normal, but there's a big difference in the focus on safety for people outside the car and for objects, or how you might interact with those and avoid crashing into things. So there are quite a few things that the Polestar does that is very common with Volvos, and it's all kinds of collision avoidance that you're not even aware of as a driver. So take, for example, I had my first experience with this just a few days ago. I was reversing out of my driveway, and the car emergency braked, just came to a very abrupt stop, which was really startling. But when I looked through the rear view mirror, it stopped because someone was running past the back of the car. And I have to be honest that is really clever. I don't think the car would necessarily have hit that person because it was someone jogging, but if it hadn't been, say it had been a child or somebody who'd walked out without paying attention, then that could have just potentially saved someone's life. But it will also avoid hitting obstacles. So those kinds of safety features, although you don't really know about them on a day-to-day basis, could make a huge difference if you find yourself in a difficult scenario. So the other one that popped up for me was actually someone that crossed over on a normal road. So it was a white van actually that came over onto my side of the road, and the car set off a warning to alert me that someone was crossing over into my lane. And fortunately they moved back, but it did make me aware of it, so I was able to move over a little bit to the left. So features like that are actually rarely significant, and it's nice to have those kinds of things on the Polestar. So one of the reasons I decided to buy the car, I have to be honest, is it looked great. I hadn't actually seen the car before I decided to go ahead with a lease, but it ticked all the boxes for family needs and for business requirements. So I decided to go ahead on that basis, but it does look good. It really does in real life. And these are just a few shots of the interior and the exterior coming up, just to give you an idea of what it really looks like. But yeah, some really nice styling choices, nice materials inside, nice glass roof above, and really nice exterior lighting, just things like that do make this car quite unique and unusual.